All right. Hello, hello. Welcome to A VO's Journey. My name is Anthony Pica. This show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all the crazy things that I seem to step on. It has been a hot minute since we've done a Fiverr Friday. And I don't even remember. It's probably been a couple of months, I think, since we've done a Fiverr Friday. I apologize. And I thought, you know what? We need to get back on doing Fiverr Fridays because I enjoy them so much. It's so cool to catch up with everybody and to take all of your questions. So if you're new to Fiverr Friday, make sure you say hello in the chat. Also, basically, this is where you come. I talk about some issues or some things, helpful tips and stuff for Fiverr, and then you bring your questions, and I answer your questions live here on the channel. Also, the it's good to see you too, Angela. Good to see you guys. Yes, happy Fiverr Friday. Also, just real quick, if you're brand new and you haven't done so, please hit that like and subscribe button. Also, I put a link below to check out A VO's Journey Elite Academy. We've got a great deal, half off the first month going on right now. So make sure you check that out with some incredible coaches. We do 5 classes a week. It's really quite an amazing thing going on. We just hit 175 members, so we're really excited to help a ton more voice actors start and grow their voiceover business. All right, so let's dive into this thing today. We're going to be talking about 3 things that you can do to help your Fiverr account when it tanks. I've been working with a lot of voice actors recently who have been like, help, for some reason my numbers have gone down. I don't know what to do. It was going well. I've had a good couple months and all of a sudden things have just hit the rocks. Or, you're trying to figure out ways to grow your business on Fiverr from where you are anyways. Does Fiverr cause anxiety attacks? It can feel like that sometimes, I have to admit. But that's what we're going to talk about today. And these 3 things I think will really help you no matter where you are on your Fiverr journey. Okay. And if you focus on these things and you do them regularly, you will continue to grow and grow and grow no matter exactly, like I said, where you are. So let's go ahead and dive into the first thing that we're going to talk about. And this, I absolutely love this. And basically, the first thing we're going to do is talking about studying your. Sorry, I was looking at the chat and it was like, I got to hell. How do you. Meridian says, how do you like the button? So there you go. I said I had to review the message. Anyway, so first part, number 1, study your gig numbers. All right, what does that mean? Okay, well, there are 3 different metrics. There used to be more, but Fiverr changed that. But there are 3 different metrics that you need to look at. All right, so let's say your account, you feel like, I don't understand. I've not gotten any work in a couple of days or a week or 2 weeks. What's going on? So the first thing to do is study your numbers. And here's how you do it. You go to your gigs tab on the upper ribbon. Okay, and that's going to bring down, it's going to move you into your gig section where it shows all of your gigs and it shows numbers. The numbers in there are impressions, clicks, and orders. All right, and then there's a percentage and then there's cancellations. But we're going to focus on the impressions, we're going to focus on the clicks, and we're going to focus on the orders. Now, if there are cancellations that you've had, that will definitely tank your Fiverr account. Okay. For how long? It's rolling. They roll off. So it does go away over time. It's like between 30 to 60 days roll off, but it will cause issues with your rankings. Okay. It's happened to me. It's happened to a lot of people. Does it always affect you if you have lots of orders? No, but it still can affect you. All right. But there are some times where you have no choice but to cancel. And there are some times you can contact Fiverr and ask them, hey, can you take that, off of hurting my account? I wasn't my fault. Like sometimes people will order and they're like, before they even start, they're like, no, I don't want to do that. And you're like, whoa, like cancellations will hurt me. So that's something to think about. But anyways, let's go back to these first three. So impressions. If you are not getting a lot of impressions, then you need to look at your title, you need to look at your tags, and you need to look at the description itself, what words, keywords you have in there. It's very important to look at those three things inside impressions if you're not getting impressions. Now, how many impressions do you need? I have to tell you, the people who are making lots of money on Fiverr or making good money, I can use just my numbers because I'm most familiar with them, but I can tell you, working with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of voice actors on Fiverr, that your impressions, we often think like 100 impressions or 200 or 500 is a lot. But the reality is, in order to make good money, you need thousands and thousands and thousands of impressions. Okay. That doesn't mean we don't work our way up, but it doesn't mean you suck if you don't have that yet. But all I'm trying to say to you is that what I want you to focus on, though, is where you are right now and have those impressions gone up or have they gone down? Does that make sense? So if they've gone up, that's a good thing. Okay. If they're going down, that's not a bad thing. I'm not talking about fluctuations. I'm just talking about they're going down. We want them to go up. But if you're having an issue with impressions, there really is only those things that you can do with it, right? You can only do something with your title, with your tags, and the description. If you go beyond, like, there's nothing really else you can do with it, all right? Besides adding more gigs, see if you can find a crack, but that's it. Fiverr takes care of the rest of it based on your customer service, based on for or like the reviews that people fill out, based on all that stuff. That's what Fiverr takes care of. So it's hard for you to do anything with that. But after impressions, the next thing is clicks. So the clicks to impressions, Fiverr tracks this stuff as ratios. If you're in the Seller Plus program, okay, it breaks it down for you, but you don't have to be in the Seller Plus program to use these metrics that Fiverr uses. So all you do is you take on your gigs page, your clicks, all right, to impressions, and you get that ratio. Like, how many impressions does it take for me to get a click or 3 clicks or 10 clicks? All right. You want that ratio to be between 3 to 5%. That's on the top. Those are in the top 60, 70, 80% of Fiverr. All right. And voiceover and stuff is between 3 to 5%. Okay. So meaning like with, 100 impressions, it would be good for you to have 3 to 5 clicks. Does that make sense? Okay. 1,000 impressions, we should have, just do the math, right? 30, 50 clicks. Okay. And for me, I always look at, I at least need, now this isn't always true, especially as you grow, as you're just starting, but as you grow and you have lots of numbers under your belt, lots of impressions and clicks, I noticed that between 20 to 30 clicks begins to be the average, right? So then from clicks, we go back to orders. From orders to clicks, interestingly enough, it's still between about 3 to 5%. Now, you might have a gig that's like crazy, like 15% or 20%, or a gig that's, you know what I mean? But that's usually an outlier when you build out a lot of data, meaning you get lots of orders, lots of impressions, lots of clicks. It always traditionally gets to around 3 to 5%. All right. And when I say 3 to 5, 3 is a high percentage. That's where I'm saying you want to be in between 3 to 5%. If we're not there, okay, then we need to look at those specific areas. All right. So we talked about impressions, but clicks. So if we're not in between that 3 to 5%, then we need to work on things that improve clicks. And the things that improve clicks, right, are going to be your thumbnails, are going to be your pricing. Okay. And that's something that you've got to fix or try out new things, which will lead us to number 2 in just a second. But if we move on to the third one, which are orders, okay, we're not getting orders. Okay. If we're getting all these impressions and these clicks, but we're not getting orders, then, and remember, you're looking in that 3 to 5% range. Okay. Then we need to look at our demos. We need to look at what we're actually saying in the copy. And I see this all the time. You need to make sure that you are giving a call to action. I see this on Fiverr, I see this on people's websites. I see this everywhere. You've got to tell people what they do next. Right? You got to tell most people on their Fiverr stuff tell people to contact me. Contact me now. You need to tell them to order. Tell people to order now in your bottom of your description. It should be big bold letters, order now. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, some people like to contact because they're like, people have questions, contact me. But remember, people need to be told what to do next. So let them know to contact you. All right. Let them know to order from you. Right. So those are things that you need to look at the first of these three different things. Okay. If you're trying to generate more business, your impressions, your clicks, and your orders. Those impressions and clicks and orders should be 3 to 5%. That would be a healthy number. If they're under that, all right, you've got some work to do. Okay. Now, let's move on to number 2. And by the way, as we go through this, don't be afraid to put questions in the comment sections, because when we're done with this, I'm going to go to the comments and I'm going to answer any questions that you guys have. Okay. So as questions come up or whatever, go ahead and, put them in the comment section. And also, on a side note, if you would like to be helpful, there's a little button on the bottom that's like a little money symbol. If you'd like to donate to the channel, I would be ever so thankful to you. It's called Super Chats. But anyways, that's my shameless plug. So let's go on to the second one. So as we grow as voice actors, it's so important that we continuously, right? We continuously update our thumbnails, update our demos. Okay, this is something that I think, even for me, it's very easy for me to be like, hey, it's working. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to touch my demos. I don't want to touch my, my pictures and everything like that. But what happens over time, right, is that, we need that refreshing, that freshness. We grow, we get better as voice actors. We build new content, new demos, new samples, new work. We need to showcase that work. Here's a perfect example, right? When we were going through COVID, all right, when we were writing the lockdowns and everything, a lot of stuff that was put out, I was getting hired for a lot of COVID stuff, right? A lot of COVID stuff, like, just a lot of video narration talking about COVID. Well, now, do you know what I mean? Yes, I mean, there's, it's still COVID, but we're not in the lockdowns like we were. We're moving out of that. So, it's time. Like, if you've got a lot of that stuff on your account, like even me, I got a lot of those videos. It's time for me to move on. People are not hiring me anymore to do COVID videos. Right? They're just that's not the direction that we're going right now. It's important, as trends and things happen, we move in and out of them. Okay. So that's something to think about. So update your thumbnails, update your demos. Here's another question I get. They're like, Anthony, I just redid my thumbnail and, I've had it up there for a couple months. I got professional pictures. It's great. Do I still need to redo it? The answer is yes. You should not have, I believe that every 6 months, okay, to a year, you should get new shots. However, if things aren't working, just because you got professional shots, they might not be working. Does that make sense? Like, and I think that's an important point to make. Just because you got something professionally done or something right, and you worked really hard on it, it just might not be working. You might still need to play around with it to get more business. Does that make sense? So I think it's really important to don't be afraid to update, especially your demos too. And remember, when I say update too, I mean add more. Add some more demos to your stuff. Okay. It's really, 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 really important that you continue to update your stuff. All right. The third thing, I see this probably by far more than anything. And I can tell you for a fact, based off of all the people I've worked, The people that do this get work on Fiverr. The people that don't do this, it's a crapshoot. I mean, hands down. The people that fill out every single last thing on their Fiverr account get work. So what do I mean by that? I mean everything from your profile page to every single gig, to every FAQ, to every tag, to the full amount of descriptions you have. Also, Fiverr just released the ability for everyone to use the portfolio option. So that's a massive new thing that you can do. So basically what that is now you can upload videos in a portfolio so people can look at your work, right? More targeted work that you want them to see. So right as now, you only have a video, right, that you could put on your page with 3 different audio samples. And then if you turn on your live portfolio, then work that Fiverr chooses, right, that gets promoted, even though they've changed that a little bit, will go into your live portfolio. But it just shows, a little microphone, and those are not finished. But in your now the new portfolio, the new live portfolio that they've released for everybody, it used to only be allowed for top rated sellers. Now you can actually use all your finished videos, everything that you've created, up to 30. I believe it was 30. I mean, it was 30 ago. I don't know if they've added more or less, but 30 usually is the limit. And you can add all these videos to the portfolio. And again, it just adds extra excitement to it. I always say, if you were going to go to an audition, like a job interview, right, and you were going to go to that job interview, and the job interview is paying over $100,000 a year. I mean, you're going to make sure you look the best that you can, have the best resume possible, have the best, and like, you're going to make sure you're doing the best you can, right? Because it's worth it. And I want you to think about this platform that way, because many of us are making over 6 figures. All right, on the platform. I'm not saying everybody will make that, but you can, because there are people doing it right now. There's a lot of people doing it right now. Okay, you can too, but you've got to treat it like you can, meaning you got to fill everything out. And even though today's Fiverr Friday and we're talking about Fiverr Friday, this is generally the same sort of thing that goes for any place on, I think your website, which can be hard, right? Because it's endless, but it's another idea. People are like, how do I get business on my website? You got to fill out a hell of a lot of stuff, right? I mean, you got to fill out everything on your Fiverr account. And for like, just, and I mean, all your gigs, like, if you're trying to get more work, there should not be anything that's left untouched. And a lot of times we go through and we're like, yeah, it's okay, I don't got to worry about that, or I don't need to finish that. You got to finish it all. Okay. And if you don't know what you're supposed to do, find someone like here at Fiverr Friday, ask questions. Okay. Get in the group, Vio's journey, ask questions, if you're not quite sure which to do in certain places. But that's the key. Those 3 things will help you, no matter where you are, grow your business. Study your gig numbers, update your thumbnails and demos regularly, fill out everything. I guarantee everybody I've worked with who has everything filled out, I mean, everything, they get work. They are getting work. I've never worked with one person who had every single thing filled out who didn't get a job. All right. Okay, you guys. So I'm going to take a sip from my Fiverr Friday mug, and I want you to ask questions. So now we're going to move into the question portion. So in the chat section, ask questions. Anything you have about your Fiverr account, please put it down there, or Fiverr, and I'd love to answer them for you. Let's see. We got voiceover Angela. It is always a joy to have you, Angela, here. I know I've not been live in a long time, so it is really nice to be live. Welcome back. Happy Fiverr Friday. Thank you so much, JB Music. Scott, hello, my man. Meridian Heights, hi, Vios. Does Fiverr cause anxiety attacks? And I was laughing earlier about that. Absolutely. Absolutely does cause anxiety attacks, I think, sometimes. I do think that, getting used to that hour idea, and being tied to this thing does have it can bring some anxiety, right? Especially like if you're going to bed and you don't want your account to get screwed up. I think after a while, you kind of just learn it becomes a part of what you're doing and you learn to live with it. But yeah, it could definitely cause some anxiety. All right, let's see. We've got hit the freaking like button. We got heyo, what's up, Solo? Chili peppers. Just a quick question. On my gigs, I have a detailed as British Scottish voice. However, I still get few people complaining when I speak in my regular voice because they expect English but get Scottish. Okay, so I think that chili peppers, and this is just maybe an American thing, or I don't know who exactly the ones who are hiring you for that particular one, but I would probably take the British out and just say Scottish and create, because even though I know when we think of Britain, right, it's a couple of different places. You know what I mean? They're thinking Britain is going to be one thing and Scottish is going to be another thing. Does that make sense? Even if in your mind it's wrong, I think personally, when I see that, it looks like you're putting two things together instead of just saying Scottish voiceover or British voiceover. Does that make sense? And I think that's what you're saying. Now, they might not be reading. See, you got to think too. People might just look at your stuff and be like, okay, I'm going to hire them too. Right. And they're like, wait a minute, that's not what I want. So a little key that you could do too is send out in your requirements section, make sure, and that's something too, when they order from you, make sure in your requirements section, ask a question. What do you want? What accent do you want this in? Do you know what I mean? I have I have a Scottish accent. What accent do you want this in? Especially if you're being hired by people from different, around the world, right? Because I get people who hire me who like, hey, I want this accent, I want that accent. I don't want you. I get people all the time who say, I don't want you to sound American. I'm like, I don't understand. I'm American. So, but I get what they're trying to say to me. All right, about certain styles and certain emotional inflections and the way we talk. Okay, because there is different type of accents, right? In English, there's different English accents, so it's important to know which one that they're asking for. I think if I got that question right. All right, so that's probably what I would say. Let's see. Oh my goodness, a nice part. I apologize if I say wrong. Is it Matisse? Hi Anthony, this is Matisse. If I said that right, if I said that wrong, I apologize. Reading says I don't see the button. Sorry about that. Yeah, there's a little like a money button down below. It's like a little money button, and it is for like a super chat. If you'd like to donate to the channel, any little bit helps. Like I start putting these puppies back on again. So let's see. Scott says, "Hola, what's up?" And let's see, we've got Meridian says, now I see it. The sound of my voice says, what do you think about Seller Plus? I'm thinking about giving it a shot. Yeah, Seller Plus has been quite a interesting program, and it's grown quite a bit from what it used to be. So it used to be a program that was originally started for pro sellers to help pro sellers with their gigs, their pricing, what to put up, and to make sure that the pro sellers were, work like they were doing what they were supposed to do for that program. But then Fiverr decided to increase the program for top rated sellers, right? Sellers that were kind of up and coming, right? And then it used to be where it was invite, it's still kind of invite, but it was invite only. You didn't pay for it. All right. But it was invite only, and it was based on internal metrics that they had. And that's how I got involved in the Seller Plus program originally, right before they changed it. And then they added the Seller Plus program and added more things to it. I personally like being in the Seller Plus program for a variety of different reasons. I think it's good for having a coach that can look at things. I think coach is the wrong word. I really don't. They're not really there to coach you. They're really there to help out, when it comes to like your numbers and advice. So, I mean, I guess you could say that's a coach, right? But sometimes, and I love them to death. I love Chris and all of the people in there. Most of the time I agree with them. Sometimes I do things a little differently, and that's okay. But I do like the metrics that they unlock. I like the ability of getting things first, right? Or knowledge, or, just being kind of in the back end, because honestly, a lot of us are making a lot of money from Fiverr. I want to know everything I can know. So I'm going to join whatever Fiverr has. I'll join it because I make a lot of money through Fiverr. You know what I mean? So I want to be a part of the programs that they have so I can talk about it and know about it. Does that make sense? So I do think it's very helpful. You can always cancel anytime. So I say, give it a shot. And one thing that is Fiverr does take a lot of metrics that they don't share with us, and those people in the Seller Plus program can see it, and then they can share that with us as well. So that's something to think about. Good question. Okay. Let's see. Matisse, question. Hey, Anthony, I got a question about Fiverr. Since I am starting and I don't have a lot of experience and portfolio, how can I fill everything in the profile? Good question. So I always tell people in voiceover, I believe it is about what each of us brings to the table. So you've lived a life, you've worked, you've done things. Instead of worrying so much about what you haven't done for voiceover, I want you to focus on all the things that you have done. And I want you to tailor that, like, so for example, I was a teacher. So like to me, I didn't do voiceovers. I was a teacher. But to me, I say, listen, I was a teacher. I've worked with so many students, parents, families, administrators, all sorts of people from my community. And it really taught me how to communicate effectively and to share a message, okay, that was understood. And because of that experience I have, I know I can take your message and share it effectively with your audience. You see, it's about how you take your experiences and your background and turn it into something that people are going to want to be a part of, want to work with you on, right? So you don't need to have a lot of experience in voiceover to get work. Now, when it comes to creating a portfolio, you're going to have to create it. So here's how you do it. 2 steps. One, you can make them yourselves. And that's for another video, right? You can make the videos yourselves, do the voiceovers, mix the stuff yourself. The other way is every time you do a voiceover, you make sure you ask for that link or that video, or you just like, hey, I'd like to check out the video when you're done with it. Get that video because about 99% of the work we do is video narration. Right. So in some ways, whether it's TV or whether it's on social or both, most times can be, on most of the time it will be on social and sometimes it'll be on TV. But you want to get that video so that you can then put that into your portfolio. So you've got to ask, though. A lot of times you won't get anything back, but sometimes you will. So people want to share it with you. Okay. If they put it on YouTube, get something like Wondershare Converter, UniConverter that you can download it from YouTube. So you can have the video so you can upload it somewhere else. Right? Do you need to ask their permission for it? If it is public, no, you don't need to ask their permission. If they have posted it publicly, then you don't need to ask their permission to take the video and say, hey, look, I've narrated this video. You don't need to ask permission. And an NDA does not mean anything anymore when it is in the public. An NDA is meant to keep things private before it goes public. That's why when something goes public, NDAs no longer mean anything. Okay, then the people, like if it's usually in tech research and stuff, then people are fighting, well, now I don't have any rights, I don't have any proprietary knowledge because it's public. So it's the same thing for us. But if there's something there, you can use that video in your portfolio because does that make sense? So yeah, so that's how you get your portfolio going. All right, so the next thing is JC, what's up? What does your top gig get in impressions per day? So this varies a lot. And that's something important to know too. When we were talking about impressions going up and down, it does vary. But I've had in a day, I've had all the way up to, 7, 8, 10,000 impressions in a day. Okay. To, 100 impressions a day. It depends on where Fiverr puts you. But yeah, I've had 7, 8, 10,000 impressions a day. And yes, you get a lot of work. Okay. And you have to so I've had over 100,000 impressions and more a month. Okay. And then I've had 10,000 impressions a month or 7 days. 7 days. Usually I average between 50 to 100,000 impressions a month, but I've had sometimes where that skyrockets. Okay. So, there's a lot of impressions out there. If you're just starting out, you're probably only seeing 50, 60 impressions, 100 impressions, 200, 500 impressions. You're not seeing thousands and thousands of impressions, but you have to build that up slowly. Okay. And one way to do that is every time you do get a bite, right? You do everything you can to book that job because it's going to help you grow. The more reviews you get, et cetera, et cetera. Does that make sense? All right, but good question. Let's see. Ronald Thomas, should you be available 24/7 on the platform? Oh gosh, that would be a miserable, miserable life. Now, there's a couple tricks. Okay. One of the tricks, I think, is to show that you are online, even when you're not online. Why, you might add, and why would I do that? Well, because there's a search tab on Fiverr where people search, hey, if you're online, and they just search for it. And a lot of times they do that because either they want to conversate with you, they want to ask you a question, they want to get their order in 24 hours or something like that. So how you could do that is simply go, like, I use Google Chrome, and I think, what is it? Uh it's called Easy Auto Refresh by Ksoft. And there's a whole bunch of different ones, but basically you could just set this on your computer to like 3-4 minutes or something, and it will auto refresh the site, so it always shows somewhere else in your house. And you're not in your have. They're supposed your on your phone, right on the Fiverr, a place where you put, like, to show online, but it doesn't equate top for some reason, because I've tested this and so many of us have tested it. It's just a disconnect, so it doesn't actually show you online. So that's one way that you can kind of show yourself online when you can't be at your computer, because you're online because you can access your phone, but it doesn't show up that way. It's very strange. So because it'll show up like you're online for your profile, but the gig itself is not online. It's weird. So that's a way to do it, using like Easy Auto Refresh or something like that. Now, you being able to answer 24/7, there's no, that's just ridiculous. It's hard when you start because you're like, man, how do I'm getting dinged when somebody's, from a different country across the world is messaging me at like 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm trying to sleep. How do I combat that? You don't. You do, it's a rolling average. So the more contacts you get, you just make sure the contacts you can answer, you just answer in a timely fashion. All right, within the hour. You don't have to answer within 2 minutes, but within the hour. Now, I will say the faster you answer, just like anything else, the more likely you are to get the job. But, that is, if anything that I would say, and, you guys have heard me talk about this before, if that's only one of the biggest downsides to Fiverr for me, is that, you have to be on call. You know what I mean? To at least answer. But it does go to show you a lesson, though, about what people are expecting online and why Fiverr has been very successful. Not a lot of people talk about the speed. I mean, we talk about it as freelancers on the site because we know it's a pain in the butt. But you talk about that speed. Everybody wants fast, now, now, now. I always get complimented. Thank you for responding so fast. No one does that. I don't know if you guys have gotten those comments, but I get them a lot. So that's a really important thing. All right, anyways, but good question. But no, you can't be up all the time. There's no way. Okay, let's see. Where was I? Where do you upload videos to your portfolio? Okay, so if you're looking at your screen, if you're like on your gigs or in your portfolio, or you're in your profile or whatever, there is on the left-hand side of your screen, there's a thing that says live portfolio. If you click on that, it'll bring up your portfolio where you can start uploading. Okay. If you're on your general profile, I'm trying to think. I don't think it shows you that. Let me see. If you go to, because let me switch over here. Yeah, you're gonna have to go to, let's see if it's on your profile. I think if you go to, yes. So if you go to your profile, so if you click on your face, your face, or the upper right hand corner, and then click and then it'll open up a tab and it'll go to profile. You'll see profile is the first thing down. Click on profile, and then if you scroll down, you'll see your gigs on the right, and on the left is the the different sidebar, you'll go down, it'll say my portfolio new, and it'll say view my portfolio or upload. You click on that, you can upload it there. Okay. Good question. All right, let's see. Where do you okay, Michael, what's up, man? Although I've gotten periods of time where I've been busy and have had repeat customers, all with great reviews, I also go through long periods of drought. What do you think is happening? Yeah, so listen, I mean, that's exactly what we were kind of talking about earlier, but there's a couple things too about that. You have to think that Fiverr is rotating constantly. So there will be some times where your numbers go up and there'll sometimes where your numbers will go down. You'll see it. And why is that, you ask? It's not because traffic is necessarily changing. It's because Fiverr is constantly rotating you. It's a part of their built-in algorithm. And they're doing that so that people can constantly get in front, like they can get new people in front of hopefully trying to get work, get people who are clients, get them new talent to look at. Okay. That is great. At the same time, it can be very frustrating. That's what changed. A lot of top rated sellers many years ago were, all of them, the people on the front page were like always on the front page. I mean, there was never anyone different, right? Because they're just getting all the work, and that's how the algorithm worked. But then when Fiverr changed that, it did upset a lot of them, but then it made it available for more and more people, right, to get work. So that's part of it as well. I do think that there comes a point, and I'll just be all open and honest about this. There comes a point, I think, where you've done a lot of work on your Fiverr stuff. You've filled out you've done everything I've said. You know what I mean? And you got to then let Fiverr do what they're going to do. And you got to move on and work on something else, because the whole idea of the Fiverr dream, right, is you put up your stuff the best you can and then go do something else and they bring you the work. Right. I mean, that's the whole point. And then, you wake up, you have voiceover jobs. That's the dream for me. That's the Fiverr dream. Okay. But, don't get caught up thinking you can do more than what you can do on Fiverr. Does that make sense? So a lot of what you're going through, man, a lot of us go through. Okay. You just got to keep pushing. I would say, Michael, too, I don't know. I don't think I've looked at your account in a long time. So, how many gigs do you have? What's going on with that? Do you need to update everything? Do you need to change everything? It might be time. But good question, man. Chili Peppers, thanks. Going back to the accent things on Fiverr, there isn't actually an option for just Scottish, only British. So should I just make the emphasis in the description or something? That's really interesting that they don't have Scottish. Huh. Yeah, I would definitely. Definitely. That's a good question. That's really weird. Huh. Michael says, I go to buyer requests and hunt for businesses there. And that's hit or miss for me. I anticipated by this time getting more business coming to me. I think, Michael, if here's something that, and I will say that all of us have to take a good look at ourselves. If we have been doing something, Michael, I know you've been doing this for a while as well. If we're doing something for a while and we can't seem to get traction, all right? And for a while, I mean, if we've been doing this for 6 months, a year, 2 years, and we can't seem to get a lot of traction, all right? Well, one, don't you dare give up. But two, we might need to look at taking a different tact, right? Or a different path, something else. Not a different path out of voiceover, but I mean something else, new stuff, new pictures, new demos, a different voice style. I tell a story about when I was trying to get voiceover work and I couldn't win any auditions. I mean, I was getting some voiceover work because I do crazy voices, right? So I always was able to do that, and get work with crazy voices, but I never could get any commercial work. I could never get any of that kind of stuff. And one day I was so tired of it that I wasn't getting, any work, and I was auditioning and I wasn't winning any auditions. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go into this and try different stuff, like try different voice styles. So, I started doing this low voice and, I started doing all sorts of different stuff. And then I found that I started doing some things and people started hiring me for specific things I was doing. And I was like, oh crap, this works. And then I started doing more of it. And then all of a sudden I got hired more and I started winning auditions. And I found that the original voiceover style that I was doing was like, hey, how you doing? Like I'm talking to you like now. I found that a lot of people didn't want that voiceover style from me. A lot of people wanted something like this. They wanted this style from me. Something like they wanted that tone from me. People like that. But then as I honed my ability to speak, kind of like the way I'm talking to you now from a standpoint of e-learning and stuff. Do you know what I mean? But being more certain and to the point and sounding like I was like the words that I was saying were actually said by like written by me and said by me instead of someone else. That's our biggest challenge, right? Is taking someone else's words and making them sound like ours, like we're actually the ones who came up with them. That's hard, but you have to develop that cadence, that ability to take someone else's words and make them sound like they're yours. Okay, so all these things took time for me, and I would say, Michael, I mean, it takes time, but you got to keep rocking and rolling and keep trying new things. If you're not trying new things, that's what I would recommend. Try new things, but good question, man, because a lot of people go through that. Okay, where were we? Let's see. The sounds good. I'm going to do it. Okay, good. Danielle, what's up? I'm making no money. I just got here, so don't you have to be making money to be in Seller Plus? Um, now I don't know. They keep offering Seller Plus to more and more people. Sorry, I was laughing because it was just funny. You're just like, I'm making no money. I remember that. That was hard. I tried to accept every job I could when I first started, even the jobs I would never accept now. But I feel you. So the Seller Plus program used to be, like I said, for just a few people. Then they've included more and more and more. So I'm not sure if you would know, because you'll get an invite, or up on your tab on your Fiverr page, you'll see this thing that calls Seller Plus Beta. Okay. If that's there, then you have access to it. If it's not, you don't. So then you don't sweat it. Okay. But keep cracking. I know you're gonna do it. Mike says, also, I am utilizing paid promotion on my main gig. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think it was real when it came out, this period, but as more and more, see, you got to remember, this is the same thing as Fiverr grows. I mean, I think they're they were up to almost 27,000 gigs now. I mean, do you guys remember when I was like, yeah, they just hit 20,000 and they just hit 22 and they hit 23 and they hit 24, 25. And, when I first started, they were at 7. You know what I mean? And I mean, they're closing in on 30,000 gigs, and whether all those gigs are different people, it doesn't matter. It's a gig, no matter who it is, takes up a space, right? So that's a lot of mouths to feed. All right. Michael says also, Donald says, is providing music a necessity when staying out? Is providing music a necessity when staying out? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Ronald. I would say that you don't need to provide music. I mean, for the first couple of years, I didn't even have music on my demos or provide it because I didn't know how to do it. Zach, my man, thank you so much. Zach, I love you to death. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. I appreciate you, Zach. Thank you. Happy Fiverr Friday to you too, my friend. And I loved your Zach. I loved your spooky voiceover. You did a good job. Let's see. Sorry, I lost my place. So I'm not sure, Ronald, exactly what you're trying to say, but don't let that stop you. Okay. Matisse says, thank you so much, Anthony. Your answer means a lot. You're welcome. Maria says, late to the party. Happy Friday. Fiverr Friday. Yay. VO Warriors. Glad to see you live today, P. Shout out to the elites. Absolutely. Thank you, Maria. And all those people too. We have, if you haven't checked out a VO's Journey Elite Academy, thank you, Maria, for reminding me. Check the link below. We have an incredible group, an amazing group of supportive voice actors that we come together, all week long. We have a private group as well as classes and coaches, and we talk live almost every single day. It's really amazing. Check out the link below. You guys will really love it. Let's see. But Michael says 10,000 day per gig or total. No, well, I was talking 10,000 a gig. Yeah, 10,000 a gig, like 10,000 for 1 gig. Yeah. Um, how Scott says, "How do I get my gig profile to show publicly when I post a video? Instead of frame from the video shows like a lawnmower." Good question, Scott. So what you can do is once you put the video up on the gallery page where you post the video, there is actually a little edit tab. When you hit that edit tab, all right, there's actually a little place that when you hit that edit tab, it says, where do you want your thumbnail to be? I used to put my thumbnail at the back of the video, and then I would just scroll back there and say, this is the thumbnail. So it will actually save where in the video you tell it to if you hit that edit tab on the video upload in the gallery section. And then you can actually, pick the frame you want to be your thumbnail. Okay. Good question on that one, man. Let's see. Michael says, I have only about 1,400 total impressions for 5 gigs for the last 30 days. No, I understand. Yeah, I understand. I mean, you got to think too, you can't beat yourself up because that's just not a lot of impressions. So you got to go back to what I said in the beginning, right? If you're trying to get more impressions, you got to do some things. I don't know what level you are, Michael, but 5 gigs, are you level 0? Are you level 1 or level 2? At this point, you should have way more than 5 gigs. Okay, you got to have more than 5 gigs, man. We've been working together for a while, I think. Well, working together meaning we know each other. So I think that's something that you got to put up more stuff, try out more things. I mean, I don't know. We'd have to like meet and see what if I dissect your stuff. But yeah, you got to get new stuff up, man. If you only got that much. Let's see. Cammy says, "Hey there, hey Cammy." Raven, what's up, Raven? Hi, Anthony. I started Fiverr back in August 2020 and gratefully got top rated. Awesome. That's awesome. That's great. And that's good speed too. Cause that's a lot of, you gotta make $20,000. You've got to be on the platform for, I think it's 6 months or something like that. I think, or a little bit longer. So great job, Raven. That's awesome. Congrats. It's a big accomplishment. I think people, getting top rated seller is a big accomplishment because, that means you've done a lot of stuff. It's not like you've done a little, you've done a lot, as you guys know. So congrats on that one. Rob says, hello, this is my first time I caught you live. Awesome, Rob. Welcome. I know I haven't been live in a while, man. So thank you so much for stopping by. Michael says, thanks, Anthony. I agree with you. I do think it's time for a refresh. Awesome, man. Let's see. Machete. I might have said it right. Laugh aloud. I feel that. I apologize. I think that's what you put down. Let's see. Tater Tot. I love these names. Tater Tot Man. Yes. What keeps you motivated? Because I haven't gotten any gigs on Fiverr. It's been over a month. Listen, that's tough. When I first started, and I always tell people I made only $800 my first year on Fiverr. Now I coach people to make a lot more, a lot faster. But at the time when I first started, I didn't know what I didn't know. So a lot of times I did whatever I could on Fiverr. And then I went to other platforms in the meantime. And I learned a lot by doing different things, right? Like what helped me in the beginning too is audiobooks. See, a lot of people don't want to do audiobooks, and I understand. They are long. The pay is not as much as like a 15, 30-second commercial, totally. But there was a lot of work there, right? So there was a lot of work there, and it was easy to, be able to get that work it was easier to get that work. And it taught me a lot about voiceover, how to talk out loud, how to read words constantly out loud. You know what I mean? Because even though I was a teacher and I was an actor, everything I did was either memorized or improv. It was I was not I didn't give speeches, and you don't know about teaching. Teaching usually you build like an outline. You don't script out the words you say and then read it, right? You improv based on your knowledge. Okay, so it took me a while to be able to get to a place where I could feel comfortable reading out loud. And I noticed that the better I got, the more work I got. Remember, I told you about finding that voice. Now, in other videos, I've called it my money voice. And I came up with this idea, what's your money voice? What is the voiceover style that you do that's going to make you the most money? Do you know what I mean? Because there's something, usually some niche, something that is people are going to hire you left and right for. Okay. And everything else, you might get hired sporadically, but there's your money voice. So I was searching for my money voice, even though I didn't understand it. I didn't know. I was just trying to figure out a way to get hired. And that's when I found my money voice, was basically out of frustration. I was so mad that every time I started doing a voiceover, I had to find my voice. I mean, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Like every time it was exhausting because it was like, what am I going to do today? What's my voiceover is going to be like today? Because I was always searching for how I should sound. All right. But when I finally found that money voice of mine, and it came from literally me being exhausted of not feeling comfortable doing voiceover, that I started trying different things, different pitches, different styles of my voice. And that really helped. Okay. So that's what I would recommend, that you got to keep plugging away. You got to keep trying things. If you're not getting traction, that's good feedback that you got to keep trying new stuff. Chelsea says, oh, I didn't see you go live. Yeah, I'm glad I did. It's so awesome to be back here with you guys. Zach, thank you again, my friend, for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Michael says he means starting out. No, I forgot which one that one is too. Should my demo have music? Oh snap, you just answered. It's okay. Zach says thanks. Thank you, my friend. Ronald says starting. Sorry. Ronald. Let's see. Ronald says, is providing music a necessity when starting out? Yeah, so I did answer. So I'm glad I got that right. So yes, you don't need music when you're just starting out. I will be clear. I want to be clear about this though. Like I just said, there's almost 27,000 gigs up on Fiverr now for voiceover, just for voiceover. So when I first started, and there was around 6,000 or 7,000, it wasn't as necessary for me to have the perfect stuff. But I will say, the more that you get, the more you need to stand out. Now, the cool thing is that standing out can be not adding music. And remember, this whole thing I think I like to approach all this as like trial and error, right? Like I'm trying something and I want to see if it works. If it works, great. If it doesn't, that's okay. I'm going to try something different. Do you know what I mean? So my recommendation is put your stuff up, you know what I mean, now, and learn as you go. My whole life, I never did that. My whole life, I always learned first and then I did. But it wasn't until I realized that I needed to push, this was me personally, I needed to push myself to take action, even if I thought it wasn't perfect or I wasn't ready. I'm sure, I mean, hopefully maybe you can relate, because this was my life in a nutshell. And what happened was I had that analysis paralysis, but it wasn't until I started doing this and just pushing myself to move forward that things actually happened. Yeah, I screwed up a lot and I still do, right? But I realized that the action is what really matters. Because you'll find did you hear about that story? I'm sorry, I digress. That story about that guy who they did this big thing on him in Forbes or whatever, where he made, like, he became a millionaire by trying all this random stuff, just trying it, like selling things, like just selling things, like for no reason, just trying it until he found things that worked. Like he just started just selling all kinds of different stuff, and he failed and failed and failed. Like, it's crazy. Michael, thank you so much, my friend, for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Thank you for your kind donation. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So anyways, that's how I kind of feel about that. So Chelsea says the best group. Yes, would love to have you check out the elite group. You love it. Let's see. Chelsea Mache says, I gotta get my Facebook set up totally. Oh, it's Blaze. Blaze. I love your name, man. I love your names, dude. Blaze and Machete. That's all. Now it makes sense, Blaze. I gotcha. We're totally gonna have a laugh in the next session. Okay, so Meridian says, just love. Thank you. Chelsea, thank you very much, Meridian. Chelsea says, Blaze, get on it, my man. Yep. It's happening today, promise. Judy says, hi, Anthony. Hey, Judy. It has been a long time. It's so good to see you. Maria says, laugh out loud. Maria, congrats, Raven. Scott says, thank you very much. You rock. Absolutely. Tater Top Man, thanks so much for responding to my question. Absolutely. Judy says, audiobooks teach you so much, so many skills that help in other things. Yes, they do. It's like the education none of us want because it's so long, but all of us really need. Does that make sense? It is so like that. So yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Meridian says, yeah, after finishing my first audiobook, that was 9 finished. Okay. You're 400% better now. You absolutely are. Listen, and I should say this more. I guess I really do forget. If you were just starting out, for goodness sake, don't accept any books that are over like 3 hours because it will drive you nuts. I never recommend anyone doing books that are over 3 hours when you're just starting because 9 finished hours, if you're new and you don't know, that usually takes someone, that could take someone like, so you think about it, it could be anywhere from like 3 to 6 hours per finished hour. So even on the low end, it's like 27 to 30 hours of work. Do you know what I mean? And if it's 9 finished hours, and if now if you charge like $100, per finished hour, that's $900. You know what I mean? You're talking, I mean, a decent, I mean, to me, you know what to me audiobooks are? To me, audiobooks are like normal work. I mean, like work, like most of how we charge as if we're doctors or something else, right? I mean, but like normal people working, right? Like that's like if you think about it, so that's like $30 an hour, which is a really good rate if you think about it, right? Like 30 hours and you charge $900, that's $30 an hour. It's a really good rate if you were working a job, right? But I think that's something that audiobooks do because it is straight up an hour of work is an hour of work, right? And a finished hour is hours of work. So yeah, so awesome. But yeah, it will definitely teach you a lot. Let's see. Yeah, Tater Tom, and yes, I watch your videos every week, old and new. Thank you. Judy says, how do you know if you got hired from a buyer request or it's just from them finding your gigs? Well, so one thing is I don't know how many buyers request you're doing, but like when I do it, I mean, I know who I send a buyer request to, or I keep track of them. But if you're doing it on a regular basis, you know what I mean? You're not going to know. Now, usually if someone buys from you outright, you could tell if it's a buy request. Or what you can do is you could start adding your own little code. You know what I mean? Like your own little thing, like, BR. You could add like BR on the back of your thing when you send a buyer's request for the option. All right. So if you see that BR under the require or the actual the description part, right, that you send, then you'll know it's a buyer's request. That might be something that'll help. It's a good advice, Anthony. Again, thank you, Michael. Really appreciate it, my friend. Mike says, same here, Michael, working on upping the amount of gigs on my profile as well. The sound of my voice. I'm interested in your elite program. How do I get involved? Awesome, man. Would love to have you. So yeah, so basically there's a link below. And it's actually 50% off the first month right now. So he's talking about a VO's Journey Elite Academy. And we set this up to help people who are just starting out or trying to grow their voiceover businesses to actually have live coaching. It's via Zoom, right? Of course, but I mean like live coaching. Like we do 5 different classes each week. Of course, you don't have to attend them all, and they're all recorded if you miss one. But we do 5 live classes with 5 different coaches. We have 2 voice acting classes a week. We have a marketing class, which I coach or teach. We have a production class, which is done by Don Barnes and Donnie Barnes. And then we have a business systems and accountability class taught by Angela Clark. And, we also have our community group, and we also have, a lot of different references and archives and scripts and different teaching things. So it's really an amazing group, an awesome private group that's separate from a VO's Journey Facebook group that we help each other get work. We're working on, getting the agency up and running. We were talking about that the other day. So it's a really wonderful thing. So you can check out that link below if you're interested in joining. We'd love to have you. And like I said, the first month is 50% off right now. So it's a good thing. Thank you for the question. I appreciate that. Meridian, I got to pay you for that little plug we put in there. Meridian says, voiceover Angela, Anthony used to be a procrastinator. Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Machete, level out, thanks. Blaze, Voice of Angela says, Meridian Heights, I think we all had a touch of procrastinating. Yeah, I like that, procrastinating. Cami says, laugh out, got it. Chelsea says, audiobooks scare me. I've been doing big e-learning projects and can't imagine doing projects bigger than 30,000 words. That's a lot. It's a lot. The cool thing I like about audiobooks, though, or I liked about them, was that there was time. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoyed, especially when I was working a full-time job. So if you're working a full-time job, which most of us are, right? Um, you it can be very difficult and scary. It was scary for me to have to get a job and it needed to be done right away because it's like I can't do that. And then I'm gonna get, they're gonna upset the person. I'm not gonna, get a good review or I'm gonna lose the customer. So audiobooks gave me a way to, plan my day, my recording time with a little less anxiety. You know what I mean? Yes, it was more work, but I could do it over a longer period of time. It wasn't due overnight. You know what I mean? So I think that was something that I liked about audiobooks, but I totally understand because it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. Interestingly enough, because I've done so many audiobooks though, now I make a good amount of money doing editing, like, and formatting people's audio for ACX because I've done it so much that it's like I can help people edit and stuff their own things, you know what I mean? And get paid for it. So that's something that's another, and it helped me with understanding how to, eventually it led to me being able to do my own demos and then be able to build a team and launch our demo services program, right? Where we do demos for people as well through VO's journey. So a lot of it all came from the lot of audiobook work. Let's see. Michael says, at Mike, that's good. I know it will help us. I see you hit level 2 some time ago. I see level 2 some time ago, and I still am level 1 and a few $100 away from level 2. Oh, so close, man. But get those extra gigs up. If you're level 1, Mike, that means you got 5 other gigs you can put up. So I think you had 5. So it said, Maria says, me too, Chelsea. Judy says, Chelsea at 30,000 words is about 3-hour book. Yeah, so it's about ACX puts it at like 9,300 words or so as a finished hour. I always rounded up to 10,000 words because it was easier for me to do the math, like 10,000 words instead of 9,300. So yeah, so it's about a little over 3 hours. Let's see. Chelsea says, yes, my biggest e-learning project is 23,000 word project. So doing a larger project is definitely daunting to me. Yeah. It is. It is. Easy math is good math. Absolutely. Hey, everybody, you know what? I want to thank you so much for today and spending an hour with me. And it's so good to do Fiverr Friday again. I really do enjoy talking to you guys and answering your questions. So if you get a chance, check out VO's Journey Elite Academy. We do this kind of thing and lessons and stuff 5 times a week. And, but the cool thing is we get to interact, right? Because everybody is on the screen and everybody, we get to talk to each other and share and help each other grow. So check that out. But thank you guys so much. Again, hit that like and subscribe button. And I'm going to hopefully go live again next Friday. All right, guys, you have a great weekend. I will talk to you later. Thanks, everybody. Michael and Zach, thank you so much for the super chats. Really appreciate it, guys. All right, bye, everybody.